Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, you know, it always goes to show when you have higher up people, very rich people, for some reason their attraction to children skyrockets. I don't know why this is. I don't know what's been going on here, but it seems to be the case with all these higher up people. And I am very concerned on how this keeps on happening in our country where very, very rich people seem to like the little ones. Well, apparently Mark Zuckerberg also seems to be allowing this because we have this here from Bloomberg saying that Instagram suggested groomers connect with minors, FCC says. So it goes on to say here that the Instagram's automated software system recommended that child groomers connect with minors on the app, making it easier for them to find victims, according to 2019 internal document presented in court by the Federal Trade Commission. The Meta Platforms Incorporated reported noted that minors made up 27% of the followed recommendations that the social media app surfaced to groomers, a term the company used to refer to accounts they identify as exhibiting predatory behavior toward children. Over 3 months that year, the company found that 2 million accounts held by minors had been recommended to groomers. The company found that 7% of Instagram follow recommendations made to all adults were minors. The report, titled Inappropriate Interactions with Children on Instagram, was shared among company executives in June 2019, yet nothing was done. It was presented in federal court on Tuesday as part of the FTC's antitrust lawsuit against Meta. It goes on to say here, the report also included an analysis of 3.7 million users' reports flagging inappropriate comments to the company. Meta, which was called Facebook at the time, found that about 1/3 of those reports came from minors. Of the minors who reported an inappropriate comment, 54% were reporting an adult. Earlier in the trial, the FTC offered evidence that Meta Chief Executive Officer Mark Zuckerberg, when presented with safety issues on Instagram, chose not to offer enough resources to that app to help it address the risk to users. I mean, a lot of these CEOs don't. They don't really care because as long as they're making money, they could care less whether a child is being harmed or not. I mean, this is just kind of the par quo with these companies. I mean, you had a huge issue with Twitter and you had a huge issue with Facebook and Meta and Instagram, but this is not really too far from to be the case here with these platforms. I mean, we all know that these platforms have very predatory people on it. We all know that even YouTube has issues with this as well, and I don't condone or support anything that YouTube or any of these metas or any of these platforms do that illicit or expose children to groomers, or what I would like to call child grabbers. So again, this is not too surprising here, but at the same time, it's disgusting as well. Like I'm not gonna hold a buck here. It says, after seeing the 2019 data, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg asked FTC lawyers to speed these things along. Out of context and years-old documents about acquisitions that were reviewed by the FTC more than a decade ago will not obscure the realities of the competition we face or overcome the FTC's weak case, a Meta spokesperson said in a statement. The company added that it has long invested in child safety efforts. That's a BS rule, and I know it is. And in 2018, began to work restrict recommendations for potentially suspicious adults and encourage the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to expand its reporting process to include additional grooming situations, it noticed. Because again, it's not hard to say if you have anywhere with child or anything to be not included there, because you would have to say children or have children, child, minor, etc. allowed in your filter system to be searched up for. I'm pretty sure if you go and look up things like that on a platform such as on porn sites, I'm pretty sure they don't allow that type of stuff there. In fact, I would even go too far to say is if you're looking that stuff up on a porn site, you should be immediately directed to the FBI, because no adult is going to be searching child or children or minor in a porn site. If you are doing that on a porn site, you should immediately be directed to the FBI once that search is being put up. right? I mean, come on. Now, if we're going on Google or whatever, it's harder to do that because obviously, if you have children yourself, you're probably gonna be looking like, oh, children clothes or whatever, stuff like that. That is more in the realms of like you can't really report people for that type of stuff because obviously it's not directed to one thing. But if it's on a porn website, come on, guys, we all know like let's not be stupid here. Uh, so you could do the same statements here for Instagram and Facebook if we're doing this type of stuff. Nobody should be looking up child anything in that regard. So I sure as hell don't, so I know why anybody else would. It says the company added that has a long invested in child safety efforts, etc. Blah, 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 what are we calling with this? It says Guy Rosen, Meta's chief information security officer, argued on the stands Tuesday that difficulties protecting young people online are not unique to Meta. These challenges are present everywhere in the industry. Rosen said, when questioned by Meta's lawyers, Rosen took over Meta's integrity efforts in 2017 and leads the team responsible for fighting content that violates the company's policies. Lawyers for the FTC surfaced the internal data as part of an argument that Meta's acquisition of Instagram ultimately harmed consumers. Government lawyers have used emails and other internal documents, including testimony from Instagram founder Karen Sitstrom, to argue that Meta underinvestigated the app's safety and security efforts. Like I said, this is not a surprise; they always do. Let's not go off the buck here and say that Meta, Facebook, specifically Instagram, is very, very bad when it comes to females because we all know on how that app does to female confidence, etc. like that. Obviously, you can't do too much about it when they're looking at pictures or whatever to where, it causes issues. But again, this is the reason why I say that Instagram and a lot of these media companies or what have you should be immediately revoked and banned for children at a certain age because it has horrible effects. Obviously, it should be up to the parent, but again, we can't always allow trust parents to do the right things for specifically children, and I think a certain age should be set up. I think at least the age of 15 to 16 should be around the age where you should allow this, and where they could have access to these media platforms. The FTC first sued Meta in 2020, alleging that Meta's acquisition of WhatsApp and Instagram were illegal and that the company needs to be broken up. I mean, I've seen or heard a lot of bad things about WhatsApp and how a lot of crazy stuff gets on there. I mean, a lot of the nasty or bad stuff that I've heard is always from WhatsApp. Earlier in the trial, Systrom argued that Zuckerberg starved Instagram of resources in part because he felt threatened by the app's success and worried that it would cannibalize the social network he founded, Facebook. The FTC surfaced more emails and documents Tuesday that supported the theory. In May 2018, Adam Mosseri, a senior Meta operating executive who would take a job to lead Instagram later that year, asked Rosen for an honest assessment of Instagram's integrity work. Rosen warned that at the time that Instagram was behind in terms of fighting harmful content, including child exploitation and terrorism-related content. Rosen suggested that this posed a risk, particularly to the platform's younger audiences, and that he was seeking to expand aggressively into addressing these issues. The FTC painted a portrait of a company reluctant to do so over several years in a different exchange from February 2019. Rosen wrote in an email that he relayed his concerns that Instagram was being underfunded to Zuckerberg during a planning meeting about increasing company headcount. After speaking with Zuckerberg, Rosen concluded the resource allocation was deliberate. Zuckerberg thought Instagram had another year or two to catch up to Facebook and didn't think the app needed as many resources. I think we are not sure that that's the case anymore, Rosen said. I think Instagram is terrible. I've said this before multiple times, but I think it's absolutely terrible. There's an internal presentation that titled Instagram Wellbeing H1 2019 Planning, a planning document for the first half of 2019. Acknowledged that Instagram's integrity team was thin relative to the scope and importance of the work, given resource limitations, will not be doing major proactive work in areas like harassment, financial scams, credible threats of violence, impersonation, prostitution, and sexual solicitation, and forms of child exploitation, the presentation said. Rosen, when cross-examined by Meta's lawyers, said it wouldn't be fair to say that Meta starved the Instagram integrity team and that Zuckerberg was aligned with him in the need to support Instagram. He believes that nobody in the industry invested as much or prioritized these challenges as much as Meta. We've grown substantially, Rosen said. The company in September launched Instagram teen accounts, which have protections to limit who can contact teens and are private by default. They're in the strictest messaging settings, meaning they can't be messaged by anyone they're not already connected to. Meta said in a statement, noting that teens under 16 need a parent's permission to change the settings. The company also pointed to technology introduced in 2021 that helps identify adults' accounts that have shown potentially suspicious activity, such as being blocked by a teen, and prevent them from finding, following, and acting with teens' accounts. The suspicious accounts don't get recommendations to follow teens, or vice versa. The thing is that a teenager can just make a normal account, right, and just go through there. So there's that, and on top of that, I think the child grabbers can find a way to get into those accounts and search for kids, anyways. So I don't think this has as much to do with it. It's crazy. Yeah, I think Instagram should just be taken down at this point. Instagram is being shown to not do anything at all to combat this, or at least not putting enough efforts into it. And if we're gonna have Instagram be connecting groomers with minors here, and there's ample evidence of this, I think that at this point, just case closed, shut it down. We're good. This doesn't need to be here, because obviously this platform is terrible, and I don't like Mark Zuckerberg anyways. I think he's a liar. I think he tried to chase his way out of things to get by, and it's terrible. So again, this is what we have here with the Instagram here. Just shut it all down. It's time. Yeah, it's terrible. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.